Hello everyone, my name is Chris Green. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Learning Guitar with Chris Green. My entire channel is dedicated to helping you learn how to play the guitar even from an absolute beginner level. As I've been giving students lessons and as I hear people playing guitar all the time, there's a few things that I noticed that really separate what I would consider a beginner from somebody that's maybe at an intermediate level. So here are some intermediate techniques that I want to share with you in today's video. Of course, with all of my lessons, I have a PDF that has some guitar tab and chord charts for you to follow along with. Links will be in the description for those. You can head over to Patreon to help support the channel. Let's dive in with technique number one, and it is all about palm muting. So this is really something that comes down to your strumming hand. I am right-handed, I am using a guitar pick, but when I hear somebody that has just started playing guitar, or they maybe haven't focused too much on this intermediate technique, you hear them strum chords like this. So if I go from a C chord to a G chord and then to this F chord, they may do something like... which is very clean. It's very great. It technically, it is proficient, but what it might be missing is a little bit of attitude. Now, it's also going to depend on what kind of song you're doing, but by and large, over the course of a song, like I lead worship at my church, a lot of the songs don't need just full on every single string. They don't need it to be this constant dynamic. We want to add a little bit of flavor to it. And the way that we're going to accomplish that is with this palm muting technique. It's often kind of hard to describe, so I'm going to try and do it as many times as possible, but I've got my picking hand here, and basically with the palm muting technique, I've got the base of my palm, this little part right here, is resting up against the strings. So if I rest my, see if I can get it angled right. Yeah, if I rest my palm on the strings and I pluck the strings, you're not hearing anything, okay? This is just a muted string mess. So if I'm sitting here and I'm just doing this, it's quite percussive, but there's no pitch to it. If I let my palm up and I'm doing this floating thing, then obviously you're gonna hear the strings sound out. So the first step in getting this palm muting technique, rest your palm against as many strings as possible, and then rake your pick across the strings and try to get it as unpitched as possible. I don't want to hear notes. I just want it to sound almost like a kick drum. So that's the sound you're going for. When you're starting out, it may sound a little bit dead, but as you're going, you want to gradually be lifting your palm up off of the strings. So what this does is it deadens the initial attack of the string. You're not hearing any of this picking sound. You're not hearing that really quick transient. It's being muted. It's being rolled off. Now, if you compare that, instead of just plucking the strings like this, if you involve your left hand, and let's go to that C chord shape. So now I'm actually fretting a chord. If I do that same thing, instead of my hand just resting on the strings like this, I'm now going to attack the strings to where in one swift motion, I know it's quite confusing. I know over video, I'm gonna do my best to explain this to you. But if we were in person together, I would tell you, I want your hand to be away from the guitar strings. I want you to bring it in. I want you to get that percussive hit. And then I want you to pull away from the guitar. And if you're again, if you're not used to hitting the strings like this, it may feel a little bit rough. But where we started at, when we were just plucking the strings, I told you we're going for this like not a whole lot of pitch at all. Just it needs to sound like a kick drum, okay? So we're going for that tone. And then we fret our C chord, for instance. You can do this with any chord you want. You could do it with a G chord as well. When you bounce your hand off of the strings, you're allowing some of that sustain that's on the strings and on the guitar to resonate. And that's what gives it that really pleasing sound. So instead of me strumming my G chord like this, if I palm mute it, I can still have a lot of resonance with the guitar. but it's missing that bright, really sharp attack of the pick hitting the strings. We're deadening it, but then we're releasing our hand. So that first step, again, you put your hand up against the strings, try to get that percussive kick sound, and then when you're comfortable with it, listen for the kick sound, and then move your hand away. Just let it kind of float out into the abyss, okay? It'll clean up really nicely. So then as you're fretting different chords, like earlier, I was doing this chord change between C, G, and F. That was mostly just all down strumming. So I'm down strumming and I'm releasing. 1. And you can get this with any sort of key. If I go to the key of E, it really adds that extra dynamic that is going to be missing if all you're doing is just strumming with a pick. I guess you would call that open strumming. So first intermediate technique is palm muting. Now we're going to fly through these next two, and this has to do with hammer-ons and pull-offs. And really with hammer-ons and pull-offs, if you're on the acoustic guitar and you're used to playing like cowboy chords, you're down in first position. The hammer-ons and pull-offs are all about embellishing or adding like sprinkles to the cupcake. So the cupcake would be I'm strumming through the chords. If I want to embellish or add some extra spice to it, I can make use of what's called hammer-ons and pull-offs. So I want you to watch this finger in particular as I'm strumming through these chords. I want you to notice it's just going to constantly be pulling off. And then the hammer-on. Hammer-on is a process by which I'm striking the string with this finger, and you can notice without my picking hand being involved at all, I'm getting a resonance. So here is the chord progression. Watch for my hammer-ons and pull-offs, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so, and I love this song. This is particularly taken from the David Crowder Band's Everything Glorious. I believe this song was way back in like 2007, 2008. But when I learned this guitar, I had not known up until that point how to do hammer-ons and pull-offs. And this is a great introductory exercise. We're going to be using the three chords C, G, and F. And if you want to follow along with the PDF that I'm looking at, I've got those available over on my Patreon. Links in the description. Thanks for the support. Now, starting off with the C chord, and if you're looking at the guitar tab, we're going to go 2 hits on C. We're going to go down, down. And again, if you can make use of that palm muting, that would be great. So on the A string and D string, fretting a C chord, I'm going to go 1, 2. So you have a strike, strike. And then I go to my G chord, and I go strike, strike, all down strums. And then the F chord. C, G, F. So now we need to talk about, I would break this into the chord section and then also the hammer-ons and pull-offs. So the first hammer-on pull-off is going to happen on the D string, and that's again with this middle finger. So 2nd fret, D string, middle finger. First thing you want to do is I want to strike the D string with my pick. And then I'm going to fret the 2nd fret of the D string with my middle finger, strike, and then fret. Strike, fret, and without using my picking hand again, I want to pull off. So we have this ba-da-da, strike, hammer on, pull off. If you are unable to make that sound, like if you're having a struggle or trouble with hammer-ons and pull-offs, there is a great exercise that you can do. I say it's great, but nobody really likes exercising. Hopefully not. But if you're struggling with hammer-ons and pull-offs, there's something that you can do. Start on the 1st fret of the low E string and just put your index finger right on that first fret, and you want to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you want to go from your first finger to your second finger and do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then from your middle finger to your ring, and then from your ring to your pinky, and then just work your way up and down the neck. All right, it's gonna be quite the stretch if you want to make sure you've got one finger per fret. That little exercise is kind of like a spider walking up and down the neck. You can take it as high as you want to, do every fret. It will certainly slice up your fingers. It should develop some of this muscle-y stuff that we need for doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. So when you go back to your open D string, you're with your middle finger again, open D. Do that as many times as you can. Strike, hammer on, pull off. And then we want to combine that with our chords we had earlier. So we're going to go C, C, da da da, G, da da da. And then for the F chord, we're striking the F, which is going to be our D and G strings. And then on the G string, we're still using that middle finger, but now on the G string, we're doing. Okay? Now, you don't have to. I would encourage you to play along with the song. I believe they have capoed up on the first fret. The song is probably in D flat instead of C. But if you want to play along with the song, that will certainly help you as you're trying to work on your timing. So we're going to go C, da da da, G, F. And again, if you're looking at the guitar tab, when you get to the F chord, you will need to hang around with the G string a little bit longer. So we're gonna go F, F, da da da. Excuse me, F, da da da. And if you are following on with the guitar tab, you do need to hang on the F chord a little bit longer. So we're gonna stay on that G string, and we're gonna go strike the F chord twice. Kind of does a double there. So da 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 da. Back to C. And now the fun part, you don't have to, your middle finger is gonna get really good at those hammer-ons. And of course, if you're fretting like an E chord, just find your middle finger and try it out. So an E chord. But you can try with different fingers. On the same E chord, I could take my ring finger. If you're doing this G chord and you want to make a sus chord, you'll find yourself using it all over the place because it's not important to necessarily just learn one song really, really well. Most likely in your lifetime, you may never have to play the song Everything Glorious. But if you can take this technique, if you can take those palm mutes that we started with, if you can add in the hammer-ons and pull-offs, then of course, any sort of chord you ever play, you've got that available to you. If I've got this nice little B bar chord here, it'll really help you embellish what might be some mundane or quote-unquote boring chords. So I hope you've enjoyed this guitar lesson. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more videos just like this. Feel free to let me know in the comments section if there's a particular lesson or something that you're struggling with in your guitar playing journey. My name is Chris Green. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.